Today, I'm going over a manga that is actually a very compelling read. It's a manga that actually gave me chills throughout the entire thing. It's a manga called Ibitsu or Distorted. In other videos, I sometimes want to make side comments or remarks, but in this video, I won't do that due to the nature of this manga. It's so disturbing that making any jokes would only dull the review. Ibitsu is a pure horror story that will immerse you in the lore of what happens when you answer the question, do you have a little sister? Now for most people, it's a simple question, either yes or no. However, you could be in danger if the person who asked you is a goth Lolita sitting in trash. This may seem strange, but most people who come across this won't think anything of it. This is based on an urban legend that states that anyone who answers the young girl's question will be given a fatal death. Our main character, Ibitsu, falls into the trap of answering this question, which is where the horror story begins. Now, it's pretty vital that I say this manga has one main story and two mini stories between them. The two mini stories are kind of irrelevant to the plot, but also very good wholesome reads. One being about urban legends about a warehouse where you can find true love that's actually haunted by possessed dolls wearing human skin. And the last one being an oddly placed story that centers around a young manga artist who decides to draw manga for a young creator. However, she proves too much for him to handle. Getting back into the main story, our protagonist accidentally answers the question of this mysterious girl only to have her force her way into his home to clean her doll. After she forces her way into his home, things spiral from there. She goes from mildly harassing him to straight up stalking him. No one knows anything about this young girl except the urban legend that surrounds her. If you say no to having a little sister, you brutally die. However, if you say yes to having a little sister, she will become that sister. In our protagonist's shoes, we see that this legend comes true as she starts to call herself his sister. This girl has no other name than the Lolita. Other than the legend itself, she has no information about her. What makes her terrifying isn't that she's some ghost or some monster with insane powers, but the fact that she's mentally deranged. Anything that doesn't fall in line with her view of a perfect sister isn't needed. For example, there's a scene where Lolita actually meets our protagonist's real little sister. The sister starts to mildly insult her brother about his living habits, which, to be honest, is on par for the course of having siblings. Me and my brother insult each other almost on a daily basis. It's just light banter. That is on par of the course of being a sibling. However, in the eyes of the Lolita, this is far from being the perfect sister. Therefore, the real sister is not needed. Once again, what makes the horror in this manga is not specifically the urban legend, but the mental derangement of the person behind it. Everything she does has a twisted application to it. Taking care of her brother means feeding him a cooked dog. Cleaning up the house basically means making it messier. Loving him basically means torturing him. Everything she does is for her to be the perfect sister, and yet she strays really far from that. What added on to this horror was the fact that the main siblings were not the average horror movie blonde white girl who always dies first. They had some level of survivability. They knew that this chick was crazy and therefore needed to fight or flee. This is one of the first mangas where someone actually called the cops when something wasn't right. The Lolita installed a level of fear where you knew no matter what you did, no one was safe. This manga was like watching a movie. Even though you knew what was going to happen, you couldn't stop reading. The scenario of answering the basic question like, do you have a sister, is akin to the Chinese finger trap. You enter the trap willingly, but once you enter, you realize that escaping requires a level of wits. Escaping isn't as easy as entering. The more you try to pull out, the more entrapped you become. The other thing that really makes this manga amazing is the fact that an antagonist is created in a way that, despite her mental derangement, there is a sense of loneliness and desperation. There's a level of innocence that makes you wish someone had treated her correctly. Once you hear her backstory, you start to feel bad for her. Of course, these feelings are quickly washed away by her actions. The feeling of sympathy quickly changes to disgust and anguish. In the end, you realize that the only escape from this horror is death. In the beginning, this could have all been avoided if he had purely shut the fuck up and ignored her. But realistically speaking, that's not something most people would do. We cherish our family, so when we are asked about them, we are quick to answer. Needless to say, our family is one of the most important aspects of our lives. hence why answering the Lolita in the end is inevitable. The manga does a great job at taking something innocent and twisting it, which pretty much fits the translation of the title, Distorted. Everything in the manga is to make you feel uncomfortable and fill you with disgust. I have to rate this manga honestly a 9 out of 10, and the only thing that stops it from being a straight 10 is that I personally wish there was a bit more character development and better introductions. For a short story, this manga is absolutely peak, but the transition between the story and then into some random one-shot stories kind of ruins the immersive atmosphere. The characters are not really memorable either, as the main character's friends are self-centered, and the side characters are just NPC fillers. No one truly has a place in the story other than the antagonist herself. The art, on the other hand, carries the story just as well as the writing, so kudos on that. This story is incredibly well done. And that's pretty much it for this review. Please let me know if you enjoyed this format of videos for reviews, as this one is a bit more serious. I do recommend this manga to read for a horror month, as it is probably one of the best mangas in this genre. And I honestly genuinely enjoyed it. But that's it for this video. This is day 6 of horror manga. So until next time, my name is Robbie J. Fox, and with love, fuck off.